It's luckily ASMR, back with a new language video, and today's topic will be East Asian languages, and in particular the countries that I will be covering are China, Korea, Japan, Mongolia, and an additional language of Macau, which is Portuguese. So even European/Brazilian fans can have some of their own language in this video specifically. What I also wanted to comment on is that I'm now continuing the geographical series after finishing Europe, and I'm starting with East Asia because those languages are the ones that are kind of closest to me because I know them the best. And I'll start off right away with the very first language, which is Korean. Let us start. 여기서 우리는 다시 한번 한국말을 하고 있습니다. 지난번 이후로 너무 올라두지 않았으면 요겠습니다. 저는 여전히 한국어로 말하는 것을 매우 좋아하고 한국어로 또 다룰 연체 비디오를 만들 가능성이 높기 때문입니다. 어자대운 한국어는 말하기 아주 좋은 언어이면 다른 많은 I've never read these types of words, so it's kind of weird. 언어서는 말할 수 없는 매우 멜로디입니다. 한국의 경구 K-팝과 일부 K-드라마에 입문한 이후로 문화 양서 아티스트 대해 많은 것이 재미있습니다. 내게 대화한 모든 언어 중에서 한국어는 내게 얼마나 멜로디가 요며 일반용으로 읽는 것이 야연스럽다는 점에서 확실히 내게 가장 좋아하는 원인입니다. 한국인들은 한국이 다른 어느 곳보다 맛있다고 말하는 경향이 있고 한국어 대한 지식이 있음에도 불구하고 실제로 완전히 배울 수 있을지 의심스럽기 때문에 나는 아무 그곳에 살지 않았을 것입니다. 다음 불 영상이 나올 때까지 좋은 복습이 대감을 불러리 ukipnida. 불러리 ukipnida. I'm gonna be completely honest, this is probably the hardest text that I've read in Korean yet. And I've read Korean quite a few times already on this channel. And it's really weird that this one was the hardest. Like, I literally have, it's like I've never seen half of these words. And in most cases, when I've read Korean before, it's been like 90% words that I could completely pronounce myself or that I've heard others pronounce. So I already knew the correct pronunciation. But here, it was a lot of, especially that one part, that one word, which is onosonen. I think that's how it's pronounced. It has a lot of EOs. I mean, that's how it is when it's romanticized, but it's onoesonen. And it's really pretty hard for me to say something like that, which is kind of uncharacteristic of Korean, since Korean, as I mentioned in the text itself, is really dynamic and usually pretty easy to both pronounce and be melodic in a way, in a really, really easy way. Even if you haven't heard the word that many times, it just has its the rules by which the Korean language works, the grammar and stuff, at least for reading, is quite simple in that sense. So it was weird for me to find these like really hard words. It was probably because of the text that I made and how I wrote it. So, and I also might be Google Translate making really weird translations. So if it is not good, I'm sorry. I tried. But yeah, let's move on to the next language, which is Chinese. Note, this is my first time trying Chinese ever. I've heard about it. I mean, I've heard people speak it since there are some Chinese shops, and I'll talk about it more in the text, but this is gonna be fun. 谢谢我第一次相识中文，主要是因为我是想并没有先前准备好尝试，我认为是太难了，希望听起来没问题。我通过向外向制作人这样的生存节目和我看过的事实相信电影听到了很多。我也对中国世纪的历史和探索上人生活目上这样的人物和杨军的游戏小米。中国人看起来也很不错。我们在塞尔维亚有很多生活商店，工作人员总是很好，例如也是中国的雄狮分析。我从来没有先理解过，但他是爱这个国家本身，虽说一点，我希望中国在它可能和中国大陆的不一样，但它仍然很好奇。Also, before I finish, 板机灵 it's one of my favorite words. Both ice cream itself and the word in Chinese. So yeah, well, this was an interesting experience in general. It was nice. It went a lot more smoothly than I expected it to, honestly, because usually when you listen to Chinese, it sounds like there's a lot of those shu shu nu ji we and like it feels like it would stop you when you use that word, but it was pretty easy to just go through 上文主要是因为我细心并没有先生 and so it was kind of easier than I expected it to be, despite my me listening to a lot of stuff that's been Chinese, both films, survival shows and stuff like that. So it was still really fun to try out, and I think I won't be scared to try it anymore, because at the very beginning, when I was making videos at the start, I was kind of scared of trying out Chinese because of the I don't know how the Chinese symbols are called, but I was kind of scared of that. But when you romanticize it and Google Translate does it for you, essentially, you can do it like I did it right now, and you can somewhat make it work. So definitely tell me what you thought about my Chinese. I'm curious what you guys have to say, if it sounded weird or something, because in general I don't feel like there's much of a Chinese accent. Like, it's like whenever anybody's speaking Chinese, it's a specific accent. That's how it kind of feels. There probably is. I'm probably just making a fool of myself in this case, but that's at least how it sounds to me, which is like not saying much, but yeah. Okay, let's go on to the Macau Portuguese. For anybody that doesn't know, which is something that I'll be speaking here in Portuguese, is Macau was a Portuguese colony, similar to Hong Kong, since Hong Kong was an English colony, British colony that is, that was given back to the Chinese, but there is still a lot of the culture there, so it's literally a city that is a mix of both Portuguese architecture and Chinese, and I only found that out today, and I'm really fascinated by it, honestly. But yeah, let's try it. Aqui estou falando português. Me uma vez. Quais são as chances? Eu sabia que o Macau existia, mas não que antes fosse uma colônia portuguesa e que houvesse uma mistura de cultura chinesa e portuguesa também. Parece uma mistura fascinante, já que os dois parecem tão diferentes do outro. Então eu definitivamente viajaria para lá apenas para experimentar esse tipo único de estilo. O facto de haver 6 vezes me jogo de azar em Macau do que em Las Vegas também é bastante surpreendente, porque nunca tive esse contexto ligado a ele na minha cabeça. Não que eu esteja interessado nisso, já que felizmente não sou jogador de forma alguma. Esses vídeos parecem estar me dando duas coisas, motivos para falar em português e lugares que agora estou ainda me interessado em visitar. Espero também estar similar to normal Portuguese, and just in general how you spoke it. And I was pretty fascinated because up to now, when I've been speaking Portuguese, it sounded a lot. I usually tried to say it like it was Spanish because I didn't know any better. But now, when I listen to it a bit, it sounds a lot like some type of. It's like, in my mind at least, I hope none of you get offended by this, but it's like a mix of Spanish with French words that are said in Hungarian with a Hungarian accent. That's how it feels when I try and say it, and that's even more fascinating to me, like in a way, because it's so different than what I expect it to be, despite knowing songs in Portuguese and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely that, and I also learned that, or at least I think so. Tell me, Portuguese, the people here that are viewing, that know Portuguese, please tell me, when is the T said like ch, like in the fast? No, it's not that one. It was some word where you had I think the rule is that when it's a T and an I, it's a ch, but I'm not sure. That's why I'm asking. So I'm curious, because that's a really interesting thing, because I would also kind of have it in a similar manner to Italian and Serbian, because we have a ch in our language, like it's a separate letter. It's not ti, it's just ch. But yeah, that was still really, really cool to try and read, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be you Brazilian, Portuguese, or Macau. Anyway, let us go on to the next language, another one of my favorite languages, which is Japanese. Watashi ga hanasu no ga suki na mo hitotsu no gengo. Sore wa osuraku watashi no uchinaru uibu ga hanashite iru koto desu ga, aru imi de sore o hokori ni omote imasu. Kankokugo to onaji yoni Nihongo wa hanasu toki, kono bai wa yomu toki, honto ni dainamiku de melodiku na yo desu. Shita o ote iru yona gengo ga takusan arimasu ga, chukokugo mo so desu. Sore demo korera no gengo wa subete higashiyaya de hajimarimashita. Nihon wa tashika ni hoka no kuni kara kanari koritsu shite ite, kekkyoku no tokoro shima desu. Tonikaku watashi wa genzai Nihon no gemu shubasaderu koe ga tsukuta video game o tanoshide imasu. Sore wa Nihon no rekishi ni moto tsuite imasu. Oda Nobunaga ya Uesugi Kenshin nado no kyarakta ga purei kanona kyarakta de saishin saku wa Sengoku Muso to yobarete imasu. Gozonji no kata mo irasharu to omoimagasu. Watashi wa saikin hajimeta bakari desu ga, kodomo no koro kara sangoku muso no fandata no de, kore wa shizen na nagare deshita. Once, in a similar way to when I was reading Korean, once again, this was the hardest like text that I've had to read in Japanese for no, it was still really easy in a way because I really enjoy reading Japanese. It's really similar to Korean. It's dynamic, and I talk about it in Japanese too, and I really enjoy that about it. But this was somehow still the hardest text because it had certain words that were pretty long, and with short words, I usually know the exact pronunciation of them, but when it comes to stuff like, where was the word? Kekkyo kuno tokoro. Kekkyo kuno tokoro. I've never heard that word in my life, so I'm not sure if it has any different type of pronunciation than what I'm doing. So I'm hoping that it doesn't, but at the same time, I just don't know, so I'm hoping that it is. But yeah, note, I have something to tell both Koreans, the Chinese and Japanese people at the end of the video. I just remembered, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, let's go on to the last language, which is Mongolian, which is also the language that I know least about. So this one is definitely gonna be a bit experimental in that way. Mongolin tukai Mongolin esent gurnes kata orkin uyed tukin talar chunek ik yaridagui bi unik Mongol chudik usen yadk gay keldegui kekte jagad im bolsnik sanai medegui baina magadgui ted kyatat orosor gurel sen bai magagdui yum karamsaltaini bi mongoltoi yamarch kolbogui yum intiernetik neg udakai baisna sanai baina jagad gevel eneni kjatatai karitsul kad jamar baik jostuik bi uneker sonir koi baisan bögud uneker nogun övslug saikan karaktai baina bi bai galliasa jeron kido turtai bolokor mongol kese negen zagt ochi uzek saikan gazar shig sanagdag mini mongol aiklak yugei bodoi baigag bisain medekui baina kekte bi komient kesges mongolin talar shine medellel avakik kusekui baina. That was honestly the most weird language that I've read in my life because I had no idea how to pronounce it. In the sense that I listened to a few videos where people were speaking it. There's unfortunately no Google Translate, no Google Voice when you translate it to Mongolian. And when I listen to people, they sound like they're kind of speaking Korean in a way. But other times they speak like they're talking in Turkish. But other times they speak like they're talking in Russian. So my brain is extremely confused because it's kind of Turkish with a lot of elements of a lot of other languages. Like it has some German stuff, it has some even Scandinavian stuff. So it's a really weird thing to try and pronounce properly when you're not Mongolian, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to improve. But you know, Mongolians, let me know how stupid I sounded, because I'm very curious as to how stupid I sounded, and and yeah, that was still interesting though, despite it. I hope that it was not as bad as I think it is, because in my head it sounded terrible. I was missing every word. I'm pretty sure that I didn't even pronounce a single word properly, probably, or something. But in any case, I hope it was still good. That is that for the languages. I wanted to talk about something that I've been watching, which is Girls Planet 999, and that is very much connected to this East Asia topic, because it's a survival show, an idol survival show, and it has both Chinese, Japanese, and Korean trainees competing to debut in a group of 9. So I just wanted to mention that to you guys. If any of you were interested, to let me know what your picks are, what you're excited about, what you've been doing. I didn't watch the last episode. I'm planning to watch it as soon as I upload this, honestly. And then yeah, I wanted to mention that I don't actually have a single pick in each from each of the countries, or should I say the groups. From the Koreans, it would be Yujin and Bora. From the Chinese, it would be Shen Xiaoting, and who was my second pick? Fu Yaning is also kind of an option because of her really good voice. Like, she destroyed Mafia in the morning, and Wenje as well. Those are basically my 3 that I want. And with the Japanese, it's Hikaru, Ezaki Hikaru, Sakamoto Mashiro, and Nonaka Shana. In the first voting period, I voted for Yurina as well, and when she shot up straight to number 1, I was like, but the thing is, I didn't vote for her because she had caught my eye or something. I voted for her because out of all the I only had 2 at the time. I only had 2, which was Mashiro and Shana. I wasn't that high on Hikaru yet, and I was like, I need a 3rd pick. I don't know who to pick, and I was like, okay, who looks the nicest out of these? And I was just like, okay, Yurina. So yeah, that was a really random one. It's not that I don't like Yurina. It was just that that she wasn't my pick necessarily anyway. It was just something that I did because I had to pick 3. But yeah, anyway, let me know what you think about this video. Firstly, let me know what you think about the show if you watch. But now onto the outro itself. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you liked the way that I did your language too. If you did, leave me a comment telling me what you thought about it, what you liked, what you disliked, what I failed at. You can even tell me the grammar and stuff that I might be able to improve at, because I do check those comments out, and I keep them in mind when I next make a video with them, with that language, with that particular language. Leave a like, subscribe if you enjoy these types of language videos, because I'll be continuing this series with new languages, and I'll also be doing a different series with languages that I've either already done or something of the sort. So thank you all once again for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Luckily ASMR.